Aloha! You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 220. This episode is sponsored by the Tiki Bar T-Shirt Club, where their monthly T-shirt designs pay tribute to a Polynesian bar or restaurant from days long past. Each design is available for a limited time and will never be produced again. For the collectors out there, be sure to check out their subscription program, where they offer a discounted 3, 6, or 12-month plan, or you can always buy shirts one at a time. For more information and to check out this month's shirt, visit tikibartshirtclub.com. This podcast is sponsored by Frogtown Brewery, an independent craft brewery and tap room located in Northeast Los Angeles. Stop in and enjoy one of their excellent beers from their ever-changing, diverse menu. Tell them that Inside the Desert Oasis Room sent you and get your first pint on us. Limitations apply. For more information, go to frogtownbrewery.com and follow them on social media at Frogtown Brewery. On this episode, we chat with Justin Peterson. Recorded on location from Tiki Oasis in San Diego, we sit down with Justin to recap our sold-out Don the Beachcomber panel for those that could not attend. Get all the details of the upcoming Don the Beachcomber brand of restaurants, from its upcoming locations, cocktail program, new merch, to its future plans. As always, I hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. If you'd like to follow our adventures, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PolynesianPop, where we chronicle events, bars, travel spots, cocktail tutorials, and more. And if you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/PolynesianPop, where membership grants you early access to podcasts and videos, front-of-the-line privileges to new merch releases, as well as exclusive content, meetups, and screen credits. Alrighty, join us from the lanai at Tiki Oasis, and give it up for my friend, Justin Peterson.
Inside the Desert Oasis Room.
All right. What's happening, Justin?
Not much. What's going on with you?
I'm moving a little slow today.
It is Sunday.
For our listeners out there that don't know, we're recording this at Tiki Oasis. It's Sunday morning, and it's been a long weekend.
For some people, for me, it's gone by in, the blink of an eye.
Well, when I say long, I don't necessarily mean like literally long.
No,
it's
true.
It's been a lot of work.
Oh, man.
Right,
Just
for both
it
of us.
Never ends.
So for our listeners, I apologize if my voice is a little scraggly this morning, and it's not the sexy stripper DJ club voice you normally get.
It is 8:30 in the morning, and, Saturday night just happened just a few hours ago.
That's right.
So,
We just got back to our rooms just a few hours ago.
I mean, for real, though.
But the thing is, we had to do this now because we've got a huge team out here from Don the Beachcomber.
It's true.
Everybody's going to start traveling home.
That's
Right,
absolutely
right.
true. Yeah.
And I appreciate you making the time to do this with me.
Of course.
I'm sure there's a lot of things our listeners want to know. And for those that weren't able to make it to Tiki Oasis, we'll try to fill in some of the gaps for you, answer some of those questions. We did do a symposium, which I think went together pretty well.
Honestly, the response that I've heard all weekend since Friday at 12:30 when we walked off that stage was amazing. People just thought it was fantastic. They loved what we had to say.
Yeah.
My wife, who was in the back of the room, feels like we kind of alleviated a lot of fears that maybe the community might have had.
I 100% agree. There was almost a collective sigh in the room.
Yeah, you could feel it.
Yeah, because we're all protective about this whole Tiki thing, and everyone wanted to make sure it was going to be done properly.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about it a little bit. I want to give you a shout out first for creating such a perfectly aligned presentation, PowerPoint, and you worked on that till the very end.
I did. I was working on that like legitimately. I woke up probably 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday, started pacing around my room.
Yeah.
And I was like, I still have like 5 slides to finish that I need to do. Like my slides, my part of the presentation was the last part.
Right.
I had everyone else's locked it.
And we talked about it on the phone beforehand.
Yeah.
And then we met up here beforehand, and then you were still making adjustments. Even like right before it started, you were sliding tiles around.
Tim Glasner came in and he was like, let me delete some some of these slides. I'm like, okay, man, it's going to happen one way or the other.
And I want to talk about that real quick, but let's introduce you to our audience. Let everybody know who you are and what you're doing with Don the Beachcomber.
Yeah, my name's Justin Peterson, and I'm the creative director of Don the Beachcomber for 23 Restaurant Services, and that company is based out of Tampa, Florida.
Awesome.
And creative director really means just art guy. Glorified art guy.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's
cool. It's amazing.
That's cool, especially for a brand like Don the Beachcomber,
Absolutely.
an iconic brand.
Yeah.
People are going to be protective about that too.
Of course.
They're going to want to make sure that everything looks right and proper and not goofy or
goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, goofy
No,
or
you're right.
Or clownish, right?
Yes, clownish.
The presentation looked really good. So,
that was actually my first PowerPoint I've ever put together.
No.
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
100%.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, it looked like you've been doing that for a long time.
Hey, man. Put me under the pressure of time and trying to get something knocked out. I'll find a way.
Right. I want to talk about when this was being assembled. You were gathering information from everybody, asking for logos, asking for photos, asking for bios, and all that kind of stuff. And then our friend Tim, I'm going to call him out a little bit because he's my buddy. Tim Glasner. He's writing the book about Don the Beachcomber. And he gave you like 110 slides?
Yeah, to be fair, honestly, I haven't done a lot of panel presentations. I'm not really that big on public speaking, so I would, this is not something I would necessarily volunteer to do, although I guess I technically did volunteer to do this, so, insanity took over momentarily, but I didn't know how many slides do you need for an hour. And when Tim sent over that file and I looked at it and I'm like, there's 111 slides in this thing. I'm like, dude, that's a slide like every 6 seconds. You got 15 minutes at most.
Oh my God. So like we're just having fun with Tim because
no, he's a great dude. It's so funny. We've ragged on him about it a little bit, but he knew that he gave us a lot, and he also knew that he had a time constraint. So.
And he had some great photos and very informative information. So it's kind of funny because we thought, okay, everyone gets 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And Tim drops 111 slides on us. And we're like, okay, how are we going to manage this? Right?
It's like, all right, I guess, let's just, for anyone who hasn't done a panel, and again, that being really my first one, there is some element of like, it feels like you're still flying by the seat of your pants. You can prepare, you can have a million conversations, but when you go up on stage, you plug that computer in, it's
100%,
like, man, we'll see if this goes. I have no idea.
Yeah. So what's funny is when we kick this presentation off, everything's going smooth, and everyone's staying within their time slot, and then when Tim gets up there, you and I were like, all right, set a timer.
Yeah, we, to be fair to, paint a fuller picture, we had a very packed presentation. We had Tim's presentation, and he really kicked it off. And then we went into the documentary that you're part of, Don the Tiki with Max. And then, the Don the Beachcomber team had that's kind of was the big part of that panel, doing really the first looks, behind the scenes sneak peeks with the renderings of what the restaurant looks like and some of the stuff that we've been doing behind the scenes. Yeah, the merch. And then we also really wanted to open the floor up to the Q&A because we know specifically West Coast Tiki folks have questions. And so, we were under a gun, it's like, I think you and I were both sweating bullets a little bit at the beginning.
Oh, so what's funny is because while this thing is happening, while Tim is showing all these photos, Justin and I are over on the side whispering, like, did you bring a giant hook?
Yeah. Did you go to IKEA and get big hook? We need the big hook.
But hey, you know what? Kudos to Tim. Mm-hmm. He did finish within his time slot.
On time. We all finished on time.
All on time. So the presentation was exactly 1 hour. We finished exactly on time. Everybody got in what they needed to get in. They saw all the slides that you put together.
Yep.
And we even got the Q&A, and there was some very thoughtful questions. So let's talk about Don the Beachcomber, because, as I mentioned, a lot of people are excited, protective and excited, right?
I think that's fair to say.
About the brand, making sure that everything is done properly. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the philosophy of what the team is living by to bring back Don the Beachcomber.
You know, Danny, a.k.a. Mr. Tiki Diablo, when he joined our advisory board, he brought along the design philosophy, which essentially says, respect the past, be relevant to the present, have a foot in the future, kind of looking forward. And for the team, I really like what I said on stage. That's really kind of a North Star, where we know there's a responsibility that comes with this brand, not just the name, but also like the man himself, right? Like there's history, respect, and tradition that needs to be upheld, and no one on the 23 team on the Don the Beachcomber side takes that responsibility lightly. It's on the front of our minds every day with everything that we do. Yeah. And we've been trusted with it, and I hope that the presentation is just part one, right? Like now we have to actually go out and build these restaurants, so we have to make the drinks, and we have to make the mugs and all that stuff.
And all that's happening now. I mean, we have I believe we have all the right people in place.
I agree.
For the drinks, we have Marie King, who is the beverage director, putting together Don's drinks, essentially, and making sure they stay true to the original recipes, true to the original intention that Don had with the cocktails that he was serving in his restaurants. So you're not going to get something that's just slapped together for the sake of making $1.
No, you're not. We're not going to call a bright red zombie that's made with 5 ounces of grenadine or something a zombie. It's not. This isn't 100%. TGI Fridays. It's not. It's not even, some of the bigger brands out there like Margaritaville. Like there is, again, Marie knows the responsibility that comes with putting together these drinks.
Yeah. And the locations that are going to be opening soon, because again, everything is in the works. People are curious when one's going to be opening it up close to them. So let's talk about where they're coming in first.
So, I think it kind of surprised people when we announced that the very first location will be opening up this fall, and that'll be in a town called Madeira Beach. That's kind of near Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Florida. Again, we're based in Tampa, and the conversation I've been having all weekend long at the marketplace booth is St. Pete, really? And it's like, well, we're based in Tampa. We need to get these gears greased up, the operation running smoothly before we can really start expanding nationally.
Sure.
So, St. Pete, Madeira Beach, that's first. That'll be sometime in the fall. I can't give it an exact date, but construction is well underway, and it'll definitely be open before the end of the year. And then moving into 2024, sometime around mid-2024, we'll have the second location open up on the east coast of Florida in Vieira, Florida. And then later on in 2024, really the crown jewel to begin with will be the location in a town called Hamlin, which is really Winter Garden. But as the crow flies, or as the crow drives, however the crow gets there, it's legitimately a stone's throw from behind the Disney property over there, like the Magic Kingdom. So if you're at Trader Sam's and you're on a 3-hour wait, you get in your car, you come up to Don the Beachcomber, it'll be a 5-minute drive to get there.
And from what I understand, that particular location is being strategically located so that we can view the fireworks from the patio.
It's going to have an amazing outdoor deck, and that deck will have south-facing views. And then, yes, you'll be able to see every night amazing firework views from the deck. And then, sometimes twice a night, depending on the time of the year. Disney does some great fireworks displays over there.
Love it. I love it. Now, I know I've said we a couple of times, and so for the people that are wondering, why does he keep saying we? Would he think he's part of this thing?
You are part of it.
Thank you, Justin. So I thought, let me just throw that in there. I was added to the advisory board, after the first meeting?
Roughly,
And I'm honored and excited and flattered all at
dude,
the same time.
We're honored to have you.
Thank you to be part of this amazing team. Everyone's passionate about this project.
Absolutely.
We don't have anybody in here that's just going through the motions. Everyone's passionate about making it right.
Especially when you have 3-hour conversations about music and
Sure.
TVs inside a bar.
Sure.
You know people actually care. If they didn't care, we wouldn't be on a Microsoft Teams meeting all afternoon on a random Thursday.
Yeah, so that's where the we comes from. So I am part of the team, and like I said, I'm excited, flattered, honored, and all that kind of stuff. I've been getting feedback from a lot of our Cali folks because they're like, Don the Beachcomber's a California brand. It started in California. And
heard it
blah,
all weekend.
blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we're going to get them in California. So, eventually. But It does make sense from a business perspective that the first location is going to be close to the corporate office because it's going to go through some developmental pains, right?
I mean, every restaurant does, especially a new brand. Even though this is an established brand and has been opened before, I mean, essentially this is Don the Beachcomber 2.0. Like, it's all new ownership, all new employees. I mean, Marie King is a legacy employee. She worked at the Huntington Beach location.
Sure.
So there's history there. But no, it's an all new operation with all new, people working behind the scenes on it. So there is a big lift to get this off the ground. And so, when people ask, when does it come out to California? The answer is we want it to. Every intention is to go nationally with the brand. We know that Don's home is in Southern California, and we want to bring it back. And I guess all I ask is patience because it will happen. It's going to happen.
And I will say this. By the time it gets to California, a lot of the bugs and growing pains and issues that would maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Cripple,
plague, or
you know what I'm saying.
Gum up the works.
A lot of those things will be worked out. So by the time it gets to California, it will be a better oiled machine.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a very talented and seasoned staff, both inside our restaurants and inside the headquarters in Tampa. Everyone's worked in the restaurant industry for a long time. I don't remember the amount of years. We added up the years based on like all the experience that we have. But I mean, we're talking about hundreds of years of experience collectively working in the restaurant industry. So I don't foresee it being really problematic. But again, it's a brand new thing for a lot of the company to be involved with. So getting our feet wet, greasing those gears, getting the operation to work in the way that it can scale up and be a national brand. It's going to take a couple years, but yeah, we're coming back to Southern California. I think you heard Mark say that on stage.
Yeah,
that's his intention. And I'm excited to bring Don the Beachcomber back to the masses all across the country.
We're excited to have it. Now, this is a great segue to a question I wanted to ask you, also to alleviate fears. Let's talk about the team at 23 Restaurants and what they're doing today, some of the other brands that they have, just so that people know that these guys aren't rookies.
Yeah, so we, our biggest brand that we have is called Ford's Garage. We're an official licensee of the Ford Motor Company. So what that means is we get the likeness rights to Henry Ford and the logo rights, the name rights, a lot of all the branding essentially that Ford uses, we get to use inside those restaurants. So inside Ford's, it's a beautiful like pre-prohibition style restaurant, a lot of copper, a lot of brick. But yeah, we've been trusted with the maintaining brand standards and not embarrassing ourselves with Ford. So having Don the Beachcomber now in our pocket, this is something that we're already accustomed to doing, holding up standards, holding up those guidelines and guardrails and making sure that, everything is great.
And how many locations are there at Ford's Garage?
I mean, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head because it has started franchising out to some other.
But what I'm getting at is
there's over 25.
Yeah. And they're across several states.
Yes, I think 7 or 8 states at this point.
Yeah. So it's the same model that 23 Restaurants will be following for Don the Beachcomber. And there's also other brands, right, under 23 Restaurants?
Yeah, we have a British-themed restaurant called Yeoman's it's Top Golf Swing Suite. So Top Golf has trusted us to team with them to bring in some golf aspects into this British-themed restaurant. We have a couple locations for that. And then we also have our first stab from our company at Tiki, which is called Tiki Docks, which is really more of like a beach-themed Florida vibe. And there are Florida Tiki. If you're in any of the Facebook groups, gets thrown around as like chiclet toothed, beach or like thatched roof, Bud Light bars or whatever, which is fine. And that there's plenty of that all up and down both coasts of Florida. But Tiki Docks is going to be a separate entity from Don the Beachcomber. It can be we can have two things that aren't the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we should also say, let me say this as well before we go any further. We've signed NDAs, so we can't say everything.
Correct.
But there are other things happening behind the scenes. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Do with that what you will. I don't want to get in trouble. I want to talk about the artwork. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thanks, man.
By the way.
I appreciate that.
So a lot of the iconic imagery that we are accustomed to seeing from Don, in addition to the stuff that you are creating, is really working well together.
Yeah, I've been so blessed with having Tim and Marie and a lot of the advisory board members. They have such a vast collection, and really, I mean, Tim has a complete archive essentially of Don the Beachcomber stuff that I'm able to pull from. So I wasn't really. It would be so easy to just rest on what had been designed before, to just reprint some of this stuff, slap the old logo, some of the old designs on these things and call it a day. But that felt cheap. That felt like taking the easy way out.
Lazy.
And I mean, lazy, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's.
I mean, we all want the original artwork to be there, but at the same time, it's something that's like there's how do I put this? So when you have this original stuff in your collections, the original menus and that kind of stuff, and we start reproducing that here for Don the Beachcomber, what happens to those collectibles, right? It kind of dilutes the specialness of the older stuff. And so the newer stuff, actually, it's respectful to the older style.
Yeah.
But it's, again, with the design philosophy or the philosophy of the restaurant.
Looking towards the future, being respectful of the past sort of thing, right? So when I started developing a lot of the visual aspects, like that visual language, what we're going to use for a lot of those design things that you're seeing at the merch table right now, but, even things that haven't been released, I was really, the heyday of Don it's mid-mod, right? It's mid-century. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to bring in a lot of those elements that really necessarily hadn't been used before. Again, so many menus have, especially Don the Beachcomber menus, fantastic, illustrations, fantastic artwork, fantastic designs, but it does dilute the collectability of some of that stuff if we're just putting it into a scanner, cleaning it up in Photoshop, and calling it something new. I mean, I really want to carve out, and
that's the respecting the past part.
Absolutely. I don't want to. It's easy to just rely on that, Sure. But if we're going to do this, let's slap a new coat of paint on it and make it fresh for everybody.
Yeah. And I love that. As Tiki people, right, we all know that we love our collectibles.
Absolutely.
So here at the marketplace, we've got like the matchbook sets.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the glassware.
Yep.
We've got a lot of cool stuff that all of us collectors are going to enjoy. And we've got apparel, and I saw the very first mug.
Yes.
Of Don himself.
Made by John Mulder.
Mulder. It's our friend Don sitting in a...
it's a peacock chair.
And Mark Brown, president of 23 Restaurants, was walking around the property with that. Brought it to my room party. We had a Desert Oasis room party sponsored by our friends at Don Papa. And it was a hit. Everybody wanted to take photos of it. And then, of course, everyone wants one.
Oh, I mean, it was... John... We hope to have it available in mass quantities here. Just time kind of got away from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, as it does. Tiki Oasis, it seems like it's forever away, and then it's there, and it's like, we're out of time. Yeah. I mean, I'll get to the mug in a second, but just the lift to even get the amount of stuff available to purchase at our marketplace booth today, you're talking about when this was officially announced as being completed, I think in February, like late February of this year, 2023, to today. I mean, that's what, less than 5 months, because a lot of this stuff takes a long production time.
Yeah.
The fact that we even got one finished glazed mug from John in a 5-month span, and I don't think even John started on that mug until, I don't know, was it maybe like April or May, something like that? So,
Well, as someone that's a customer of John and who's had mugs made by John in the past, as some of my listeners know, I've had maybe 1, 2, 3. I don't know. You've had
a handful.
Yeah, he's done work for me before.
Yeah.
It could take up to a year to get a mug from John.
It can take up
or even more
from a lot of companies out there.
Yeah.
And I guess we have the benefit of John essentially being in our backyard down in St. Pete, not too far away from our offices in downtown Tampa. So we're able to check in on him. But we had the intention of having it. Time again, it's never on our side. We're always working against the clock. The fact that we have one to show off, we're taking the pre-orders. I've seen there's this rows of fantastic looking Don sitting on that peacock chair.
Yeah.
Those mugs are drying out. They've been cast. They're ready
in production already.
They're in production. I've seen it with my own eyes when I was down there on Monday last week. And when we say 5 to 6 weeks on that website right now from when we're recording this, of course, I think we can. I think that's definitely. I mean, John's going to nail it. So they're coming, right? There will be immediately in your hands, soon.
I love it. So something for our listeners here that they don't know is that next month, I've already talked to Mark Brown about this.
Oh, great! Are you dropping something new on me?
I think you know this, but I think you know this, but our listeners don't know this. So I am going to be traveling to Florida.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, great.
And I will be shooting some footage at the offices so people can see what's happening behind the scenes. We'll get to look at maybe your creative space.
Well, I actually don't. It's funny. I work remotely. I live in Orlando. I live about 10 minutes away from that Orlando location when it goes up.
Well,
so that'll be my home bar eventually.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm also going to get to visit some of those spots. Some of the spots that are going to be under construction.
I'm more than happy to invite you into my home. You can come check out my little studio space.
So my subtle way of inviting myself over.
Come on over.
And we'll also get to see John Mulder's workshop, which I don't believe has ever been filmed and put online anywhere.
I'm struggling to remember if I've ever seen a video podcast of
I've seen
anything
photographs
in there.
There's
photographs, sure. I mean,
when people visit.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a tour for you guys, and we're gonna show you how these mugs are being made and all that kind of stuff.
Handmade by a very highly skilled team down there in St. Pete. John's leading the way with his wife, and they've got some employees. And these aren't mass produced. I mean, yes, the addition of this one particular mug is $350, which is pretty big. Considering some mugs here are like an addition of 10 or even just one, but each one has to go through the same process, hand glazed. They're touched a million times to make sure the quality control's there. So
these are still artisan mugs.
Oh man, this is something different than a mug. Honestly, it's almost like it's really like a mantelpiece piece, right? Like this goes on. This is like the crown jewel of a collection if you're a Don the Beachcomber fan.
Right. So for our listeners, sit tight. You'll get to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff happening at 23 restaurants and Don the Beachcomber.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say you can see the mug right now if you go to shopdtb.com.
Love it. Yeah. Let's throw all that out there. If people want to learn more, if they want to get some of the merch, where can we send them?
Yeah, so our brand new website is DTB, Don the Beachcomber, so DTB1932.com, and then our store, which you can get to from that website, but if you just want to go directly to the store, that's shopdtb.com.
Okay.
I said it's such a radio voice. Shopdtb.com.
There you go. All right. How about the social medias?
Social media is also at DTB1932.
All right. So I'd love to keep talking about Don all day with you, Justin, but you have to get to the marketplace this morning.
We got to get it open. Last day.
Yeah, we're still here at Tiki Oasis, and we still have business to conduct.
We do. We're busy men.
We are busy men. makes us feel important sometimes.
Sure. So, very, very important. My wife will disagree that I'm an important person.
So all our friends, right?
That's right. They'll be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, come on, guys.
You know you're important to like 5 people, right? Like that's.
Yep. Well, hey, thanks for being on the podcast.
Oh man, thank you for having me.
And do you want to throw out your stuff, or?
I mean, if people want to check in on me on social media, I'm on Instagram. I post there pretty frequently at Justin Peterson, and I'll be posting a lot of maybe some behind the scenes stuff for like how the art comes together. We're certainly going to be putting that stuff on our blog. That'll be on the website, and just kind of stay in touch and stay informed with everything we got going on.
Pretty cool.
No, it's amazing, man.
Thanks for joining us again, and thank you everybody out there for listening to another episode of Inside the Desert Oasis Room. If you want to listen to our archive, it's available on our website, desertoasisroom.com, and we also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Polynesian Pop. I had to think about that for a second.
It's Sunday morning, man.
Right.
I saw the gears turning in your head. You're like, hold on. I've said this a million times.
I think I'm still halfway asleep.
I mean, dude, the sun just came out.
Yeah.
We're probably one of like 17 people awake on property right now.
Right. So check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Polynesian Pop. I'll get it out there. And then if you want to help support the channel, patreon.com/Polynesian Pop. Let's go do some business, Justin.
Sounds great.
Let's go handle our business.
Please.
All right.
Nice talking to you, man.
Cheers and aloha.